Up next, some non-tournament related tag team competition. The Snarl Tag Team Championships on the line. The Freak and the Wild Thing. The Psychodelix defending the titles from Joe and Mark Coffey, the Coffey brothers.
Time's come again for the Freak and Wild Thing to defend those Snarl Tag titles. And like the originals before them, the Psychodelix find themselves in need of worthy opponents they haven't dealt with before.
And so enter Gallus, the team of the Coffey brothers, Mark and Joe. Just between us broadcast dudes, Gallus, did you know? It's a Gaelic word for chicken. What in the frozen blue hell made them choose a name like Gallus?
Chicken? Really and truly? Geez, that was a bad call all the way around. Just the same, the Coffey brothers here with a fat opportunity to move up in the world with a win over the Psychodelix. But I think you guys already know, the brothers Coffey, as I refuse to call them Gaelic chicken, are going into this one with 2 strikes against them. And those 2 strikes are Freak and Wild Thing.
I refuse to call them Gaelic chicken. Johnny wins again this week. Wally, you gotta do better. Gaelic chicken.
Hey, I'm the one that fed him the line.
There ya go again, Wally, selling herself short. It was you who said Gigi Dolan was a few Marines short of a platoon last week. You getting some zingers to you know.
He's absolutely right, Wally. And here it comes. Our boy Johnny's honey, Sylvia Strong, the Freak and the Wild Thing, the Snarl Tag Team Champions of record since summer, the Psychodelix, and the Freak and the Wild Thing finally got a brand new challenge in Gallus, the Gaelic Chicken Boys. Wally, you shouldn't have never told us that. Gaelic chicken. Colonel Lingus Fried Chicken. I hope the censors don't get us for that one. The Freak and the Wild Thing and Sylvia Strong all ready to go here against the Coffey brothers. And, gotta admit, they've got a great opportunity, and if they could pull it off, it'd be a huge upset, but I don't think that is going to happen, guys.
This next tag team match, one fall with a 20-minute time limit, is for the RWL Snarl Tag Team Championships. The challengers from Glasgow, Scotland, at a combined weight of 486 pounds, the team of Joe and Mark Coffey. Their opponents accompanied by Sylvia Strong at a combined weight of 477 pounds. From Paducah, Kentucky, the Freak, and from Staten Island, New York, Wild Thing Male Team. The Snarl Tag Team Champions, the Psychodelix.
Well, they're handing Willie Johnson the belts, but their eyes have not left the Coffey brothers since they got into the ring. Oh man, this is gonna be a good one. Alright, it is gonna be Mark Coffey and the Freak starting this one off. The Snarl Tag Team titles hanging in the balance on this one. Oh man, here we go. Willie Johnson rings the bell. They come center ring. They lock it up, collar and elbow. Mark Coffey has him up, but the Freak counters, goes behind on Mark Coffey, headbutt right between the shoulder blades, and down he goes. The Freak gathers him up, wheelbarrow facebuster. That was nicely done. The Freak drives a knee into the canvas and a rolling elbow into the back of Mark Coffey. The Freak firmly in control in the early goings here. Mark Coffey whipped to the corner of the Psychodelix, going to work here. You might have seen that cheap shot the Wild Thing laid on him. Here comes the Wild Thing on the tag. Kick to the ribs for Mark Coffey. A left from the Wild Thing. Wayne Teague whips him to the far right corner, misses with the splash. Mark Coffey with the quick Olay and a forearm takes the Wild Thing down. Mark Coffey starting a battle back here. Has the Wild Thing down on the canvas, putting the boots to the hands and fingers of Wild Thing Wayne Teague. The Wild Thing getting his head battered against the canvas. Mark Coffey steps aside. He's going to turn it over to Joe Coffey. Wild Thing is still laid out, and here comes Big Joe Coffey. Rounds him up and starts to twist the head and neck on the Wild Thing Wayne Teague. Joe Coffey slams his head to the canvas. Rounds him up. Wild Thing counters. Gets a hold on Joe Coffey. Has him up. Nice vertical suplex from the Wild Thing. Going for the quick pin here. One. Hell, just a one. A little bit early in the game for trying to pin this thing and get it over with. Wild Thing with a clubbing blow to the chest. And here comes the Freak on the tag. Sylvia Strong just taking it all in stride. Ain't she cakes? Oh, man. There's a boot to the chest from the Freak. Joe Coffey counters, finds his way out of the corner. They collide. And, oh, wow. That was a hell of a... Whoa! That was a collision, but, wow. Joe Coffey went down pretty hard. Joe whipped into the Psychodelix corner, catches a couple of rights from the Freak. The Freak countered by Joe Coffey. Locks up. Clubbing overhand right. Joe Coffey with the German release suplex on the Freak. And the Snarl Tag Team Championships hanging in the balance here. Mark Coffey comes in on the tag. The Freak standing center ring waiting for him. Whoa! Gets taken down with a vicious knee. An overhand right. The Freak momentarily stunned by that one. There's a shot to the back. Mark Coffey whips him to the ropes. And a power slam just about center ring. That was pretty nicely done. Off the middle rope, an elbow across the chest of the Freak. From Mark Coffey, there's a driving knee right to the head. Mark Coffey rounds the Freak back up. Counter whip into his own team's corner. The Freak beating the system on that one. Head first into the turnbuckle goes Mark Coffey. The Freak driving all his weight into the midsection and then pitching Mark Coffey out towards center. The Freak takes himself topside here. Mark Coffey slowly making his way to a standing position here. And here we go. Oh, man, that was a good one. Down went Mark Coffey. The Freak going there. Gallus. Gaelic chicken. I can't. Oh, Wally, wow, good you. The Freak tries to introduce Mark Coffey to the turnbuckle, but to no avail. A quick counter. The Freak whipped out onto the apron. Mark Coffey tags him with a right, tags him with another. Drapes him over the top rope. There's a clubbing overhand right, and here's a quick cover from Mark Coffey. But Wild Thing Wayne Teague right there to save the match for his team. Mark Coffey caught from behind by the Freak. The Freak turns him around, has him in a front cradle, slams him into the turnbuckle, and pitches him towards center ring. All right. Okay. Here we go. A little bit of payback. Stamping the hands and fingers of Mark Coffey. The Freak decides he's had enough, letting the Wild Thing get a turn. Here comes Joe Coffey. Fresh partners all the way around. A nice shoulder tackle from Joe. Joe Coffey with a clothesline to Wild Thing Wayne Teague. A driving knee to the head of the Wild Thing. They lock it up. Joe Coffey setting up the pump handle here. Has him up over the shoulder. Nice pump handle slam. A stomp to the head of the Wild Thing and another. Joe Coffey covers, hooks the leg. 1, 2. Sylvia's having herself a fit over here. All right. Rolling elbow to the chest from Big Joe Coffey. Wild Thing Wayne Teague rolls out to the floor. Here comes Mark Coffey on the tag. Referee Willie Johnson doesn't get to count too much. Wild Thing back in the ring. Whoa! Running boot to the face. And here's a pin. 1. Wow. He powered out of that one. The Wild Thing whips his opponent to the corner. He counters. Mark Coffey with a running crossbody to Wild Thing Wayne Teague. Wild Thing catching, oh man, a dragon sleeper spin. That's new. There's one I definitely ain't seen before. Wow. Oh, Mark Coffey imposing his will on Wild Thing Wayne Teague at the present time. Here comes Big Joe Coffey. Wild Thing Wayne Teague standing center ring, locks it up with Joe Coffey. Joe pitches him against the ropes. The Wild Thing counters, goes behind, inverted DDT, slamming the head of Joe Coffey to the back of the canvas. Wild Thing Wayne Teague. Whoa! Vicious right hand. Took him down. There's another right to the head. The Wild Thing whips him to the Psychodelix corner. Here comes the Freak on the tag. There's a kick to the ribs. The Freak takes over for the Psychodelix. Look at this. Joe Coffey counters with elbows to the midsection. A right, a left. But the Freak counters him with a kick to the leg. There's those running forearms from the Freak. Joe Coffey whipped to the ropes. The Freak misses with the spear. Whoa, running boot to the face. Well, that was a good consolation prize. Wild Thing Wayne Teague comes in on the tag, and he's going straight after Mark Coffey instead. He gets a forearm to the face for his pains, but he ain't giving up. Wild Thing drapes Mark Coffey over the top rope. Hard right hand. Joe Coffey making his way back to the ring here. And Mark Coffey's taking a beating. Wild Thing's just having himself a ball. The Wild Thing, look at this, with a face claw. He's been hanging around John Van for a while. But whoa, nice way to get out of it from Joe Coffey. Countered it into an armbar. That was kind of impressive. Wild Thing whipped to the corner, but whoa, double boots to the face to Joe Coffey. Wild Thing whips Joe to the corner. Joe Coffey counters, finds his way out of the corner. Wild Thing tags him with a couple of shots and a side suplex. Here comes Mark Coffey again. Whoa, nice flying elbow. Mark Coffey takes down the Wild Thing, goes for the pin. 1, 2, another near fall in this tag team title matchup. And he can't afford to have that one go to 3. No, sir. Whoa! The spinning punch misses the mark. Wild Thing just kind of stepped out of the way. Mark Coffey whipped to the corner. There's a hard right. Here's a tag to the Freak. And here comes a double team. Look at this. Oh, man. Oh! Whoa, that was just nasty. Here's a cover. The Freak and the Wild Thing working on those tandem moves. That was a nice one. Modified snapshot up over the shoulders. Joe Coffey catches a knee to the face. Mark Coffey all the way up and all the way down. Both of them gone. The Freak wiped them both out. Here's a cover. 1, 2, 3. Shut up. What a hell of a way to retain the tag team championships.
Here's the time. 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Your winners and still Snarl Tag Team Champions, the Psychodelix.
And that Maze Army was another example of the Stronghold's power players in action. All the Stronghold's tag teams play hard, and that's why they're filthy with gold. Another amazing win for the Freak and the Wild Thing.
Amazing is right, GB. The Freak cleans house all by himself, lays out both Coffey brothers, and picks up the 3-count pin. Not a bad day at the office for the Psychodelix.
It sure as hell wasn't. These guys are absolutely amazeballs. You ain't kidding. We'll be right back with our main event right after this.